Hey y'all, it's Chrishon Lampley of Wine Talk, where we uncork the wine to tell the truth. You guys, just so you guys know, I'll be in the West Coast. I'm not as far as west as Nicole is, but I'll be in the West Coast for quite a few weeks. So you guys see a different background. Normally, you guys see my office, but I am at the Lampleys. So I'm at my parents' home, and it's always nice to get away for just a little bit before this craziness of traveling back for the business happens. So I try to zen for at least a little bit until the craziness starts up again. So just so Love Corkscrew Wine Talk uh fans out there, like, where the hell is Chrishon? So you guys know where I am now, okay? All right. So I am excited to be here with Nicole Mallari of Vin Noir. I'm very, very excited to have you. This is going to be fun, and it's
Yes.
exactly what it is, where we uncork the wine to tell the truth. You're going to open a bottle. I have no idea what you receive. I have no idea what any of my guests receive. Ever.
Wow.
I don't know. I do that on purpose,
Okay.
because I don't ever want to make assumptions what a guest may prefer. And
Okay.
I like to just be surprised just to see what you got, so we can just talk. So you just uncork the wine, you tell the truth, and then we just have a great conversation about anything. And my
Awesome.
conversations have gone across the entire board, trust me. So we'll
I
have
can
fun.
imagine.
Yes. Oh, yes. So cheers. Let the watchers know what you're drinking. What you got?
Well, you know what? You just told me something new. I thought you intentionally picked this bottle for me.
No. What you got?
But no,
I
that's
love it.
that's exciting. That's a nice little element that you don't know. So I received the demi sec
Oh,
Lampley.
OMG. Only a few have received that one. Kid you not.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I,
was excited because when I saw that you released it, I was like, I have to try this. So thank you.
I think the last person on Wine Talk that had that was Desiree of Napa Academy. I think she was the last one who had that one. So,
Okay.
wow, that one, I'm not going to say nothing about what it means to me. So, I want you to tell the truth, talk about it, what you feel. And then, like I said, we'll have a fun conversation.
Yeah, well, first of all, my glass is a little bit frosted, but the bubbles are popping. Let me say that. I don't know if you guys can see that,
Oh,
but
yeah,
that
I
is
can
really
see that.
important in sparkling wine, right? We don't want them to, pour in the glass nicely and then just dissipate. They have been going on and on and on and on, and I love it.
Yeah.
I really love the hue. It's really pretty. It's really delicate. There's like a little bit of a iridescence to it, almost kind of like a mother of pearl, which I thought was really pretty. Um, and of course, more importantly, it tastes great. I love it. This is like, no, this is a winner. This is
Oh
definitely a
my
winner.
gosh,
I love it.
thank you. And I love Corkscrew fans out there. You guys know what the demisec means to me. That is my mother on the bottle. And when I created the Lampley line, I think of it as the angel, and Love Corkscrew is my devil. The Love Corkscrew is for the consumer and what I know people
Yeah.
like and want to buy off the shelf. But the Lampley was 100% for me and my family. Whether you
Yeah.
love it, whether you hate it, it spoke to me. It means the world to me. I cried when I first drank that one. And I knew it was something that my mom would love, and she absolutely loved it, which was so exciting. And it just means everything to me. So that one is very, very special. And that was my first one released. So I'm very honored that you have that one. That one is my pride.
Me too. Me too. Especially to know how special of a bottle it is
Yeah.
because and I love the label. I love this picture. And it just reminded me of, I'm a picture person, so I love going through old family photos. I love the nostalgia. I love the beauty and just kind of like the untold stories that, you may have never heard, but you're just kind of trying to absorb it and take it all in when you're looking through these old pictures. So when I visit my grandparents, um, from an early age, I always wanted to go through the pictures, and it drove them crazy because they had them put away and like, why do you want to look at this stuff every time you come over? But I loved it, and I love to ask questions and hear the stories behind it. So I would love to know the story behind that picture.
It was
Um,
literally just what you said. When I was creating the Lampley line, I was speaking to my designer, and she's been working with me for 15 years. She helped me create Love Corkscrew and Onto the Lampley. And it was, we are one of those, I'm a creative, she's a creative. So it'll be one of those 3 a.m. in the morning. She'll email me or Asana me and say, I got it. And she did. And she said, I need you to look through your oldest of the oldest pictures that are under your bed, in your trunk, wherever it is. And I want you to send me pictures that mean something to you.
Wow.
That just hit you, your energy. And I
Yeah.
work off of all energy. So I said, okay. So it took me about 2 weeks and I picked 5 photos. And that one made me cry. And what made me cry about that one is my mom is now 83 years old. She does not remember taking that picture whatsoever. She does
Wow.
not remember taking it. She doesn't know why she took it. And when I saw it, it spoke so much elegance to it and her beauty. And it was just so feminine and
Yes.
powerful still, because there's so much sexiness that a lot of our ancestors and a lot of people back at that time didn't even know they possessed in elegance and sex appeal. Just having your back out,
Right.
not doing
showing a little bit of skin.
just a little bit of skin, and how sexy it was. And that was it for me. And that's why I chose that picture. And I said, Mom, about how old were you? And she says, I think I was about 22. And I was like, okay, that's it. That's it. That's the picture. So it was simply that. It was worn around the edges, not sure if I could scan it over to my webmaster, make sure she could see it. She's like, it made it even more perfect.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I mean, because all of that, everything you just said, it comes through when you look at that label. Like I said, it warmed my heart because it reminded me of looking at pictures of my grandmother and just being in awe of who was this woman at this time. You know, what was she thinking? What was she dreaming about? What aspirations, does she have? It's intriguing.
And that's a perfect transition to where we're at in this industry. What aspirations do you see coming from generations younger than me? I'm a Generation Xer. What do you see as I'm not sure about as far as the end goal, but the next steps in us presenting or leaving a legacy in the transition to how this industry has looked for so long? Where is it going?
Yeah, that's a great question. I hope, number one, that it is going in a positive trajectory, right? We've got some momentum that's happened over the last 2 years, and I believe some people are starting to experience a little decline in that, kind of fizzling down in that effort of trying to be
conscious. We were hot for a second.
Right. Consciously purchasing, from Black-owned businesses. But the good thing is there's a lot more awareness, I think, within our community, which is really what we want. We want people to be aware that, number one, that wine is for people of color. It is for you to enjoy. It is for you to participate in. And for me, one of the reasons that I'm so passionate about supporting Black vintners is because we really have to create our own ecosystem. And I really would like to see that continue to grow. I see so many, new people coming into the space, so many new brands, but I really would like to see longevity, and I would like to see us build and create these brands. And yours is one of the few that has this, beautiful national presence, that has someone who's serious about the product, who knows her product. And that's really important, especially for a customer.
Yes.
And building that confidence and trust. So for me, I would like to see more of what you're doing, and not folks just kind of coming in trying to, make a quick dollar just because they want to say that they have a wine brand, right? Because that's what a lot of people, it's really sexy, but it's a lot of work. And some people will find out how hard of work that you have to put in to, not only get in the business, but to stay here and to be successful. And I'm brand new myself, but just understanding that this stuff does not happen overnight.
Not at all.
You have to be in it and you have to love it, because there are going to be times where it's not going to feel so exciting and so sexy as you thought it was, when you first had the idea. Because like you said, I'm a creative too. I love to think and brainstorm and just imagine, how wonderful something could be, and just thinking about the vibe that you want to create for the consumer. So I really would love to see brands that are coming into the space. I really would like to see them investing in themselves, in business practices, and even in wine, because there are some people who are jumping in and they don't know about the wine. And that's a big part of wine. Consumers want to know, they want to talk to you about the wine. They want you to tell them the story behind the wine and a little bit about the varietals, right?
Absolutely. And I'm glad you touched on that, because I just had an amazing conversation with Kenda Wah out of NOLA, and we got a little controversial because recently, and understand this is wine talk. We uncork the wine to tell the truth. So we're going to tell the truth. I recently have seen, and I belong to many social media wine groups, especially BIPOC wine groups, and I'm not liking the negativity. And what am I referring to? Exactly what you touched on, different wine brands getting into the game, but different level of wine enthusiasts, whether it be in certain ends of the industry, not connecting with the brands to really know who they are and making assumptions. I've seen some very ugly assumptions that certain people are just slapping their name on a bottle and know nothing about wine. Now, does that exist? Of course we know that exists. That exists around the board. That is not just Black and brown people.
Right. All brands.
Around the board. However, there are also a lack of knowledge in what spaces you can be in.
Yes.
And I gave I hope I gave a great example to Kenda, and I want to get your take on it. I told her, I've never said I was a winemaker, ever. I always said I was a negociant. I always said that I do custom crush. I've always said that I do the wine finishing and I work with the wine makers. Always. 15 years ago, I started doing that. Been in the industry 25 years. Never said I take my feet and crush the grapes myself.
Right, right.
But there'll be assumptions, generalizations that say there's Black wine owned brands. It's not even their wine. So that's not even Black owned.
Right.
That is not true. And I broke down the difference between being a negociant myself and then the extreme on the other end of, we have a wedding, we get married and we put a label on that wine and it's given to the guests, right? That's not me. That's all the way over there.
Right.
Then there's this. Then there's some people that specifically lease certain spaces to produce custom crushes as well. Lease certain 4 walls to do winery direct, or however they do it. Then there's, we own this piece of land. We actually produce and make the wine. So there's all different types.
Yes.
What I fear is the lack of knowledge of my lane, which there's a lot that sit in my lane, but there's a lot who say they're in my lane and they're not. The lumping of my lane and Mike and Jenny's wine that they did for their wedding and slapped a label on a shiner.
Right.
Not the same at all.
Not at all.
And that's my fear of the lack of knowledge, or I'll say it a different way, the knowledgeable in the wine education, however, they don't know the wine business. And they make assumptions again of what we are. And I'll give an example, and then I wanted to get your take on it. Someone made a comment of, it's not Black owned if their name is not on the cola. That is incorrect. That would be because they did not manufacture it. That does not mean they don't own the brand. That does not mean they didn't custom crush. That does not mean they didn't finish the wine. That does not mean They don't own the company that owns the rights specifically to that wine, and
Right.
nobody else can touch it. And
Right.
I that one hurt my feelings. And I am, again, not one ever. Nobody's ever seen me go back and forth on social media, and I never will. I have way more important things to do. But it hurt my heart, and I almost began to type.
Right.
I stopped myself. I was like,
Sometimes you gotta just write it out. Don't send it.
right. I said, no, I said, I have never in my 40, I'll be 48 in September, 48 years, ever got into it with anybody on social media, ever had to explain everything, ever had the time to care to do that. And I still don't to the day, but it still hurt my heart. So I want to know your feelings to that point. And then I also, two-part question, and I want to know your feelings on that subject. And I want to know your feelings in the comparison from everything I said and then celebrity wines.
Oh gosh.
I know, right? This is wine talk where we uncork the wine to tell the truth. Right. This is what we do. This is what we do.
But you know what? But yes, but it's difficult, but it's a conversation that we need to have. Yes. We need to be comfortable having. And specifically, I hear everything that you're saying, and I agree with you. And I think it's especially when it comes to the consumers, right? And the consumers of color that we would like to, kind of incite this, just pride in supporting a Black-owned brand, however it is that you're participating in the space, right? And like you said, the information and the education about how many ways you can participate in the space is critical. It's not common knowledge. It's not readily accessible to a lot of consumers. And to your point, not even a lot of people who consider themselves to be in the industry. And I think when you have a lack of that knowledge, it can absolutely be damaging.
Yes.
To peers in the space. And it's really interesting because that type of critical thought and kind of bias, they're not giving that to other brands. You're not you are not questioning, you're not turning the label and then looking at who manufactured.
You're not going to ttb.gov to look up Sutter Home. You're not. So that's why I'm like, I'm so confused.
Right. Or whatever bottle you overpaid for.
Yes.
In the VIP lounge in the club, you're not, because you've seen it in a video and you think that it's great and you think you're drinking champagne and half the time you're not.
You're still having a good time and you're paying for it. All right.
Right. But yeah, I hear you. That is definitely going to be, I'm not going to lie, it's going to be a challenge, and we have to be ready to have those conversations and to engage with people in a positive way, right? Yes. As far as of sharing with them, no, actually, this is my brand, and this is one of the many ways that you can participate in this space. And even for the consumers, I think it's, it's something that we know. And it's unfortunate.
It is.
Regardless of what we do, we have to always equip ourselves with providing receipts.
Always.
Always. We have to. And receipts that they don't ask for from anybody else. Yeah. And I going back to the first question you asked, where would I like to see? I would like to see us not questioning folks in this space.
That crab and just crab barrels. Like, why?
Supporting them, encouraging them. Ask questions on, how did you do this? Not, this can't be yours because XYZ. Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well when you first started your brand. People are, some people claim to be so supportive. Oh, I'm going to support, I'm going to do this, right? And then when you launch and all this stuff, it's like you're being interrogated by the FBI. Well, what is this?
I'm like, I got to move on. There's 10 people in line to take the
right. Well, later. What are you giving me for free? Excuse me. We could spend a whole hour on that, but
yes.
Yeah, it's a challenge, and we and I think, again, part of getting in this business, you have to be ready to deal with that.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we will be dealing with that from people who are also in the space. We know we're going to get it from consumers.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
that's to be
Absolutely.
expected.
But I don't want to get it from the people in our space.
I
I
don't
don't,
either.
that's what hurts my heart.
Yeah.
Because it'll be the knocking in again, the crabs in the crab barrel. However, the ones that you're knocking, and nobody's knocked me personally that I know of, but I'm sure. I mean, hey, the more more you're known, the more things will
Hey,
be.
you know somebody has
Of
this
course, of
as
course,
much as you got going on.
of
Yes.
course, 100%.
Yes.
However, when I look at that, where it hurts is the ones knocking. I want to say, but I can help you.
Yes.
So it's you may be knocking me, but I'm 10 years in distribution. 10 years.
Yes.
I did it with nothing. I had no money. I
And that's
had
a big deal for
nothing.
anyone, and an even bigger deal for a woman of color.
Nothing, but yet I'm in Total Wines and More in California. I'm in
Yes.
Walmart's. I'm in Total
Yes.
Wines and More. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to say, if I'm in this lane, but you are in distribution or importing, but you're
Mm-hmm.
knocking me. And then when I say me, meaning the people in our space, the brands, the wine brand,
Right. Right.
we can actually help you because the gatekeepers won't work with you. The gatekeepers always tell us we need the big dogs because we don't want to add any more distributors to our list.
Right.
We just want to use the ones that are known and everybody knows whose they are. Southern Glacier, RNDC. People want to use those. Sorry. They
Yeah.
want to use the small distributors. So if anything, uplift us so we can be a voice for you to say, hey, I will only, you know what? I will only work with them. And you want my wine, don't you?
Yes.
Let's roll. I want you to sign them up. I've done that for 2 distributors that
Mm-hmm.
were on my side. But if there's others that are knocking me left, well, then why would I do that? Why would I push?
Right.
For Walmart or for Meyer to even sign you up as a distributor when they really don't want to deal with a small distributor. And it has nothing to do with them not wanting to deal with minority. It has to do with
No.
they want to deal with somebody
Numbers.
who has 10,000 brands under, because so they
Yes.
only have to worry about one truck.
Right. Right.
They don't want
Right.
to worry.
But if you don't know that, and you go in with whatever assumptions that you have that will be detrimental to your success,
Exactly.
you're gonna
So I want
find
that.
out the hard way.
I want that to be part of the conversations, especially in this younger generation getting on, especially the ones that are doing what I wish I had been able to. I wish I had back 20 years ago, online WSET training and all these amazing
Right.
opportunities. I wish I had none of that. I was
Right.
driving from account to account, working for a distributor, tasting wines, listening to the farmers, flying out, trying to get this, not writing it down. I did not have any of these amazing opportunities. So I hope this next generation, anyone that are listening out there in education, listen to us old heads and understand there is so much more to it. So tell me what you are seeing in any changes in the tasting profiles of women in BIPOC, as far as what they assumed that we were drinking versus what we really are enjoying, or opposite, are some of those assumptions true? What are the masses that you see, especially in the West Coast? What are you seeing happening?
Well, let's talk about those assumptions first, since we were already kind of in that gear. I'm sure I've experienced, family and friends of mine have experienced when go to a restaurant tasting room that, sometimes you will be geared towards sweeter tasting wines because there's an assumption
Yes.
that's what you want, that's what you want. And you know what? And guess what? There's some truth to that, right? Because sweeter wines are easier drinking for most people, regardless of color. They just
Correct.
are approachable. Correct. And that's what it is at the end of the day. Do some of us like to stay there and not venture out? Yes. However, there are many of us who can just enjoy the whole spectrum of wines, you know, from dry all the way up to the demi-sex, right? We can enjoy that. Um, and I will say, I don't know, I'm probably a little biased here in California just because there's so much access to wine
Yeah, yeah,
readily available for people. And still, there are people I know who don't, you know, who are still kind of in the spirits realm, and they're not,
yeah.
you know, they don't even mess with wine because it's
Yes,
for them, it's like this unapproachable, I have to know about it to drink it, which is unfortunate because that's not true.
right.
Um, I feel that way about spirits sometimes. I'm like, I don't know stuff about this whiskey, and you know, but it's all the same at the end of the day. You know, just kind of the way that it's made and the way you can enjoy it, and glasses, you can geek out about all of this stuff.
Yes,
But
oh my gosh,
but
yeah.
yeah, but I feel that certainly women that I know, and who are women of color, they enjoy, many of us enjoy dry wines. We're kind of like in that in between, that dry, sometimes the off dry. A lot of us are there. And the more access you have to information, especially when you have a life-changing kind of experience, when you do like a pairing, right? And you can
Yeah,
see how food and wine work together. And you kind of get a little bit more intrigued, and then you're a little bit more comfortable trying new things and venturing out. But um, I think people are starting to get a little bit more comfortable, those who are kind of stuck in Moscato land.
right.
And I can say, even my mom, she is a sweet wine
My mom too.
only.
My mom too.
And even my grandma, the first
Yep,
question, is it sweet?
yep,
You know?
yep.
And I
And
say,
she,
you
yep,
know, it's not as sweet as you would normally like,
right.
but I invite you to try this. I got my mom on this, it's a dry rosé, but it really is fruit forward
Mm-hmm.
and gives the illusion of a little bit of residual sugar. And she loves it. She really loves it. So, and I always encourage her. I said, "See, mom, that's not a Moscato. Like, just try. There's some things that you'll like. You'll be surprised." So, you know, people, you just got to give people a chance and encourage them, and not make it so, um, you know, so foreign or so elevated, right? It is. I mean, we always feel luxurious when we're drinking wine. I mean, but you can be
Right.
dressed up, dressed down, whatever, and enjoy it. It's that's what I love about it. Is it
But it's
just
so funny. I know men, I think of like my college days of they would drink Corona,
yes,
or these really awful beers, but now it's like these IPAs that are just like, oh my God. I mean, they're
yes,
asking for things that I'm like, oh, I'm intimidated by it. I'm kind of turned on. Like, what is it? What do you, I know nothing about what
all
you're
of it.
asking for. Right. So there's so many. I just look at the progression also from being youth, and now I love Brussels sprouts. You know, it's a progression of your palate,
Yeah, yeah,
changing of your palate.
yeah,
And as you get older, as we know, our bodies and chemistry, then and there's certain things that you're gonna like more than you did, certain saltier things, or older people like more sweet things. That's
yeah,
just how our bodies progress.
yeah.
So, and do you think we are listening to the consumers and taking our time, or are we as the, and I'm saying we as the wine industry, saying, well, this is what you should drink, so make it work? Or are we actually listening? I always think of myself, especially being from the Midwest, of and being from sales and marketing, that I'm going to listen to the consumer. It's not about my palate, it's not about me, it's about them.
Yeah.
And that's what I was listening to all these years and working in distribution. That, okay, yeah, people do like a sweeter palate, or people do like something that tastes, has more taste to it, more something on the tongue, something that they literally, when they pick up, they taste right away. They don't want to understand it more than I just like it. There's certain things that I would just listen to. Most people would tell me they hate Pinot. So I
Hmm.
knew my Pinot Grigio had to be different. So there's certain things people would cry when they would talk about their grandmother buying Concord, I mean, growing Concord grapes
Uh-huh.
in their yard. So that's why I knew I had to do a Concord. So I'm listening. Do
Yeah.
you think we in the wine world in general are starting to listen more than say, this is 96 points, so this is what you must drink? Are we doing better?
Probably a little bit.
Just, but it's still snobby, right? The industry is still very snobby.
Yeah, probably a little bit because yeah, I think you still have a lot of we've been doing this and we're going to keep doing it and we are not comfortable with changing. So we're going to do what and you know what? I don't know. I think for some people, if you know that you want to make a certain wine and you're passionate about that, that's what you're going to do, right? And whoever
Yes,
wants to partake in that is going to do that.
correct.
You're going to have people who, like you said, are really going to be looking to create a portfolio that is going to be inclusive to as many people
Yes.
as possible, right? And that's going to be the focus there. And I think some people kind of also want to do a marriage of the two. Um, but yeah, but I think for the most part, people don't change, so quickly. It's a little bit hard, but I think more people are starting to listen, and I think the more um, diverse vintners, negotiants, brand owners that are coming into the space, I think we're going to see a little bit more openness to that.
Yes.
And the more of that we get, then we'll start to see more changes. But I wouldn't say that there isn't any change. I think it's very minimal.
But at least it's a little,
But it's there.
right. And I'm not going to let you avoid answering the celebrity.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And I've had about 4 guests, and I'm very transparent with how I feel about it. And let me tell you, so if you haven't heard how I feel about it, and it's not as negative as people out there may think. For those of you that watch these wine talks, you get what I'm saying. That I wish it was more collaboration for the people who know fashion. The better word for is capsules, right? That's been happening.
Yeah.
Was it Telfar and Converse, or
yes,
North Face and Gucci, or Fendi, or like these capsules?
yes.
I'd rather see that. I would love a celebrity to come to me that their marketing company has been looking up Black women in wine. They see, oh yeah, there's Love Corkscrew right there. And that marketing company says this particular celebrity feels that they are a perfect fit for Love Corkscrew. Let's do a collaboration. That to me makes sense. Why, you ask? Because there are some celebrities who get into the game, and I'm not blaming them. This is their agencies, this is their PR,
Right.
it's all the people saying that we see you drink wine, so let's get into this wine game. We can make you some money. That's my assumption. This is my assumption. But why can't it be we see these amazing women in BIPOC that are trying that have been working in this industry? The consumer believes them. They are making waves. They are in these amazing accounts. Why don't we help them? Because at the end of the day, we all will win. Why can't we do capsules when it comes to wine brands and Black and brown people and women? We all work together to make these amazing capsules to have longevity, as opposed to celebrities in and out. And we that are the ones who are just making it little by little,
right?
We could shoot up like Telfar, right?
Right.
All it takes is one. All it takes is one. Why don't
You're right.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong to feel that would make so much more effect on this industry and bring us 10 times quicker than what's happening?
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, and it is a win-win. The brand is established, the distribution is established, the accounts are established.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, no, it absolutely makes sense. I feel like it's coming. I've seen one recently that I was like, okay,
made sense.
This is good. This is a good thing, right? Because other folks in that space have just kind of started their own thing.
Yeah.
And and that's okay too. If I feel, especially if they're really taking if they're really taking time to participate in the brand, I think that's great.
That really taking,
yeah. So, but yeah, no, either that way or like you said, the capsule thing, I think is awesome. And I feel like it's gonna start happening a little bit more. Yeah, I would love to see that. I really would love to see that because, I'm always thinking about ways, how can I keep this dollar bouncing you know, through the community. And when I saw that partnership recently, I was like, okay, that's awesome. And you're right. I mean, it would do so much
It would
for
be
many of the
huge.
brands.
I'm
It would
gonna throw
be,
it out there. I want Issa Rae. I think Issa
oh
Rae
my
would be
God.
perfect with Love Corkscrew. She's quirky enough. She's sexy.
Yes,
I just think, and there's one. She did like a wine episode sometimes after her show. I want that. So if Issa, if you're
yes.
watching,
And you've got something for everybody on the
come on,
all the
Issa would be
characters, okay?
perfect. She's just everything about her is she's bold like me. She says what's on her mind like me. Some people we are definitely
Yeah.
some people like us, some people don't, but nobody could ever say I've ever lied. I am transparent, and Chrishon has never done anything to anybody. So I'm just living my life being me. So Issa, if you're listening, I think it works.
Yes.
I want, because I can talk to you forever. I want more information on you. I want you to tell the Corkscrew fans what you're doing, what you're accomplishing, because I know a lot of what you're doing, but I want you to speak to them and talk a little about that. Talk a little about some of the organizations you're involved in and what they can expect and what they can do.
Sure. So again, I just want to say thank you for inviting me to hang out with you tonight. Was definitely excited to do that. And I will say before I jump into that, when I first started on my personal wine journey, I've been a wine enthusiast for over 20 years. I met Theodora Lee,
Love her. That's my
Black
soror.
winemaker.
Theo,
Yes.
love you.
And, you know, she kind of just ignited the spark within myself to go a little deeper and realize like, hey, I love wine. I'm spending all this money on wine. I just met this Black woman who's making wine. And then I found out about people like yourself, because after her, I went and I Googled, I was just like, give me more. I want to know who these beautiful people are. And there were only a handful of people that I saw.
Yeah.
You, Julia Coney,
Yes.
Tahira Habibi. There was a handful of people. Theodora, Iris Rideau. And I'm so excited to see even more people, but to see folks like yourself who were already doing this and who I didn't know about, I was so excited. And at the same time, I was mad. I was so mad because I didn't know. And I had, like I said, I had been drinking wine for over 20 years and spending my money. And if I had known, I would have been directing my funds earlier. And it's not just because you're Black, but it's because you're making great wine. And let me be clear about that. Like, I want to support people. I'm here to support people. You know, I might buy a bottle or two to support, but when I know you're doing it right and that you're putting in the work and that you care about your brand, you have a dedicated line in my wine budget. Right. And that's just the truth of it. So I just want to say thank you for taking the leap and following your passion, because people are watching, people are discovering you, and it gives them the confidence, like it gave myself, to just, you know, step out on faith and say, this is for me. I can be here. I can participate in this. So I just wanted to give you your flowers because you were one of the first spaces that I discovered. And it was really inspiring to me. And so on that note, you know, I was like, I need to learn more about wine. I didn't know, like, you hear people doing tasting notes. They're calling out fruit. They're calling out dirt.
Right.
Like, what?
Right. Mushrooms. Like, what? Right. Like, what's happening? Right.
Are they putting this stuff in the wine?
There's caramel in wine. What are we talking about?
I wanted to know. I was so curious. So I started Googling. I found out about WSET. I am fortunate to live about 12 to 15 minutes from downtown Napa. I signed up.
You're lucky.
Yeah, I know. I signed up for the WSET program. I started out with level 1 and I wanted to know even more. So then I took my level 2, and I recently took my level 3. Girl. That was a month.
Hey, I'm jealous of all of you that are doing that, and I commend. I'm jealous, and it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it's no joke. But I really wanted to, I was just intrigued and I wanted to know more. about what people were calling out when they were, talking about wine, and was just curious to know, how is it made? Um, what are people doing in the vineyard? What are people doing in the winery? And ultimately putting it all together about what these folks in the tasting room were telling me about this wine. And so that's how it all started for me. And during the pandemic, I decided to do something that scared the crap out of me. And I said, you know what? I am going to create this public profile on Instagram. And as I kind of am learning about wine, I'm just going to invite others to learn along with me who
Yes.
might be where I am,
Yes.
or who aren't where I am, who are also curious about wine, and they just want to learn because they've always felt like it wasn't for them, or it's like, I don't know about it, so I can't really enjoy it the way it's supposed to be enjoyed. And that's really how I started
I
Vit
love that.
Noir, which is a play on the word vintner, which um, is described as a winemaker, wine merchant, negotiant. And I just define it as any of those folks who are just exemplary, because we know that we have to, and when I say we, I'm talking about Black people, we always have to embody excellence. And excellence means putting in the work beyond what it calls for.
Yes.
Because that is what we end up having to do just to even be considered on the same
Okay.
playing field
Even right. Even just
as
okay.
someone else who's just maybe
Yes.
average, right? We have to
Yes.
show up
Yes.
with so much more, just to get in the door. And I know that that was the case for people like yourself, for people like Theodora. I know that it was hard, right? And so for me, a wine lover, I wanted to celebrate, showcase, and highlight these brands, the stories behind them, and just invite people to explore them because they don't know. And just kind of going to your point before, if you don't have the case numbers to fit on these shelves in these big stores, most people aren't going to know about you.
They're just
And that's going to be the case for most of us, right?
yes.
Most of us,
Yes.
most folks don't have vineyards. Most folks aren't making 30,000 cases a year.
Exactly.
They
Or
might be
have
making
10,000 members on a wine club.
right, right. That's not the case.
Not.
And so it's something that is really a passion for them.
Yeah.
And they are working really hard
Exactly.
just to make this brand exist. And so I wanted to support that, and to just kind of incite, like I said, pride in wine consumers of color. And I'm just excited because I just see so many new brands coming across. I I started my wine subscription box just this past June, launched here in California. So I'm doing a quarterly subscription where I have 3 different wine brands. We are inspired, I say, by Black winemakers, but I will be including other winemakers of color as well,
Yes. Yes.
Indigenous,
Yes.
Latinx, Hispanic. There are so many great brands that I've had the opportunity to try. And again, because of the proximity of where I am, I have access to some people
Oh,
that,
you have. I'm jealous of the
well,
access that
I
you
know.
have. Yes.
I always say I don't take it for granted. I'm truly grateful. I am born and raised, here in California, here in the Bay Area. Um, and it's just it's a blessing, to be able to have the access. But I want to help share and support these stories of these people because most people will never know about them.
They won't. They won't.
They
And
just
it's
won't.
all I always use, I'll just real quick analogy that I use a lot, but I want to embed it in people's minds that I'm old school and I think about back in the day of the pet rock or a chia pet. The pet rock and chia pet. We're talking a rock with a face on it,
Yes.
and we're talking a weed that you could shape, that those made millions of dollars, and it was
Isn't
all
that
about
crazy?
exposure and marketing.
Yes.
You could have on the opposite end a mixtape. I lived in New York for a little bit. You could have a mixtape with an amazing artist on it, but if it's never heard, they never make it.
That's right.
So it's people like yourself really marketing and bringing out to people what they don't know, because if we don't know, then we don't know.
Right.
So we need that exposure, we need that marketing, we need that that exposure, that it's amazing that it's available now. Again, you know, not having that back in the day where everything was word of mouth, going to you know, event, going to a party. Now you can just post,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So the ability to be able to get it out there, people like yourself are gems, because otherwise they just don't know about us. I tell people today, I wouldn't have sold over 1 million bottles if it wasn't for social media. And I was one of those people who wasn't on Facebook at the beginning. I'm like, the Facebook? I'm like, wait, what? I have to? So I got on it because I had to. Now, please, I'm like an expert at Instagram and
Right.
everything. But it at the time, I didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know because I'm used to talking to people.
Yeah.
So it was different for me. So I say that to say thank you. Thank you for this new generation and what you guys are doing for us, because as we're working hard, we still need that voice and we still need people really pushing for us. So that means the world. So tell us about, because I will be with some of the events, but I want to tell, because I'm going to make sure that this is posted this month or in the next week, about some of the different events happening. AAAV, if you want to just touch on AAAV and some fun things happening around the wine world.
Yeah, AAAV, the Association of African American Vintners, actually was also the first organization that I found as I was exploring, you know, Black wine brands, winemakers, educators. And this organization was founded to support Black winemakers and entrepreneurs. We recently had the symposium, the 20th year symposium, just this past
Amazing.
May, which you
Y'all,
were
I was
also
there.
a
You
part
guys
of.
saw my pictures there,
Yes.
videos. It was great. It was an absolutely amazing event.
Yes, I had the fortunate opportunity to participate on the planning committee for that. Lots of work, but we were really happy with the way that it turned out. Excited, you know, for what's going to happen for next year. And the other organization that I am also a part of, that is also formed around people of color and supporting them in the wine industry, is the Hugh Society. And I joined that group shortly after joining AAAV, and it's helped me just kind of in calibrating my palate. We do tasting sessions, and just, you know, industry access to things that I wouldn't have probably had access to, you know, going out to wineries and talking to winemakers, distributors coming into town, those things that are really important that, again, gatekeepers,
Yes.
um, you know, either give you access to or they block you, right? And so these type of organizations are super important to people like myself because, you know, when you don't have that access already, when you don't have people who, you know, work in the industry, who you have, you know, who you can give a call or, you know, shoot an email to, you know, to say, hey, I want to learn about wine. And they, you know, say, hey, let me send you to so-and-so. Most of us we don't have that. So this organization exists to expose us, to help educate us and just provide that foundation that most people in the wine space have and need really, just to kind of navigate. Yeah, yeah. And I belong to other organizations as well. Women of the Vine and
Yes,
Spirits.
I love them. I love them.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
they've been great. And I usually refer them. So you guys know out there, I refer you all a lot to them because there are so many opportunities for grants
Mhm.
to take these WSET courses that can get a little pricey when you keep going. So
Yes.
definitely be a part of these organizations. And a lot of questions that I get asked, I tell them, the power of the Google, y'all. If you Google
Yes.
that, they pop up, AAAV pops up, Hugh Society pops up. So definitely there are amazing memberships, there's amazing scholarships, there's amazing grants, and take an opportunity to really learn about wine. So y'all, I'm gonna see Nicole. So I will be in Atlanta. So I'm going from Vegas to Chicago to Atlanta and then to Texas. So anyway, I'm going everywhere, and New York. So
Wow.
so I will be there definitely. And I want you all out there again to support amazing people like Nicole, and every single person I've had on this wine talk, I've had on for a reason, because they know more than me. They are doing amazing things that are different than me. So as you see Love Corkscrew on the shelves and Chrishon barely surviving because she's doing way more than she should be. You see amazing other people. So again, I'm going to say this, and I've said this several times. It's not, Chrishon, I just want a wine brand. How do I be you? No, it's not just me out there. There's so many other parts of the industry that you
Yes.
all can get into to understand it, to make sure you want to be me, because it ain't as sexy as it looks. But there's some amazing expertise. There's sommeliers. There's so much you guys can do to be in this industry, and we need you. We need you in
Yes.
the industry. So follow Nicole. Tell them how to follow you, please.
Yes, please follow me at Vint Noir. We are spelled VINTNOIR. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. And I invite you just to kind of see what I'm doing. I'm highlighting Black wine brands. I have my summer box available right now. I'm only available in California at the time, but we are working on branching out to other states.
That is fine. There's plenty of Love Corkscrew fans in Cali who always order my Concord, which I find very interesting. So I know you guys do like sweet wine out there. So, so thank you, Nicole. Everyone, please follow her. I'm going to make sure this one is posted. So if you guys are watching this now, just know more than likely I'm on my way to Atlanta. So follow my journey, follow everything that I'm doing, and watch what these amazing wine experts and what we're trying to do to make sure everything is inclusive, that we are making it, and we need your support out there. So please support these organizations and join these organizations. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Nicole. If you guys are hearing my phone going off like crazy, it's my mom calling. I don't know why she's calling us many times. But anyway, just so you guys know, I'm hitting my iPhone. I don't mean to hang up on my mom, y'all, but I just want to have this great conversation with Nicole. And thank
Sorry,
you.
Mom.
Thank you. Right. She'll be fine. She'll be fine. Thank you guys for watching Wine Talk. And like I said, I'm gonna make sure when I post this, you guys just know I'll probably be headed to Atlanta for the Wine and Culture Festival. And maybe I'll post this a little sooner so you guys can still come. All right. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.
Thank you.